We finished the session on online and learning management system. All going to be in the test later on, so be prepared. We're now starting the next session. You see the atmosphere slowly changing, and this session is going to cover unbundling higher education. So quickly, because we're a little bit behind on time, I would like to invite Elad Shoushan, the founder and CEO of LTG Exam. Please join us. Ronen Tal-Botzer, founder and CEO of Sense. Boaz, Shedletsky, founder and CEO of ForClass. And Shai-Lee Spigelman, VP of Planning and External Relationship from Digital Israel. So the thing, because of we don't have so much time and we want to be very efficient, you have companies to run and you have the government to run. So I will ask you all to present what you do exactly in up to 5 to 7 minutes, and then later on I will ask you a very, very bold question. So please go ahead, the microphones, the water, feel comfortable. Elad, go ahead, start, please.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Cool, so it's very exciting to be here. It's the first time I'm speaking here in a conference in Israel. I've done it a bunch of times in the US. But my name is Elad. I'm the founder and CEO of LTG Exam. It's a company that I founded about 4 years ago out of my own personal experience with the GMAT exam when I was in the process of applying to business schools in the US. Eventually it turned out to be good, and I got accepted into MIT Sloan as well as founded LTG in the process. So today, if I'll start from the top to the bottom, today LTG connects students with universities to help them achieve their educational goals. And we do that by building the best-in-class mobile learning platforms to study for standardized tests. Today we operate over 14 apps in the market. 6 were the top 1 app for 6 of the top standardized test exams in the world. So for GMAT, GRE, SAT, ACT, PSAT, and MCAT. And we do that both on iOS and Android. So LTG, since the beginning, has been a roller coaster, I would say, and it's been a phenomenal experience. When I founded the company, it was just out of a personal experience. I struggled with the GMAT a little bit. I thought there must be a better solution to study for the test. It has to be more personalized, more adaptive, more smart, and it has to be delivered in a different medium that was back then started to become pretty much adopted by most of the people in the world, the mobile device. So since then, I saw, with the younger generation, millennials and Generation Z today, that the adoption rates of using mobile learning solutions on phones is becoming more and more common in the world. And so when we started back then, again, about 4 years ago, it was just an idea for an app, but today we expanded, as I mentioned, to a bunch of tests. And even more than that, we as a company decided that one of our values to the student is going to be provide equal education all around the world, not necessarily to domestic students in the US, but also to international students worldwide. And so we made a decision to keep our courses free. And this is what we have today in the market. But at the same time, because we oversee over 50% of the people that are going to study in higher education institutions in the US, both undergraduate and graduate degrees, we decided to work with the universities to help them acquire students, match students, and connect them with students in their target markets. So what we do, we're enabling universities to recruit better in international markets. We help them also target better domestic students. They have a lot of gaps in their skills and abilities in marketing and in sales and in recruiting. So this is sort of what LTG is all about. It's a data-driven approach to test prep as well as to student acquisition and student recruiting. So that's what we are today. And so I'll just a quick background about the company. We are about 40 people. Went through multiple rounds of financing. We raised about $10 million. The headquarters is based in the US, in Boston. The engineering team is here based in Tel Aviv, in the heart of Tel Aviv, Rothschild and Allenby. And we're very happy to continue growing and help universities get more students to their degree programs.
Thank you so much, Elad, and he's been quite modest. I think that in the last I met you in the ASU JSV conference, you won second place at the competition, first place, sorry, in the startup competition. So he's doing very well in the US. Next is Ronen. Please elaborate a little bit about what it is that you are doing. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I come from Sense. And in Sense, we are solving one of the very low-level problems, very fundamental problems in education, which is the problem of feedback. How do we give students personalized and tailored and detailed feedback, but in a scalable manner, of course, right? Currently, it is done in a manual fashion with maybe teaching assistants. We are focused mainly on higher education. And you know that today we move to an economy of scalable education. There are more and more students in classrooms, in classic academia. And when we are talking about online courses, of course, there are many, many more students. I'm also a lecturer. I know I look young, but for the past 15 years, I'm already a lecturer at Bar-Ilan University. And my class today is 100 students. So each semester I have 100 students. I cannot give them personalized feedback or any kind of personalized experience. Since in online education we work in a course with 100,000 students on edX. 100,000 students. How can we give them feedback or how can we give them the opportunity to use open-ended assignments, which is, you know, the one thing that really teach them some sort of skill when they are doing something and not just filling multiple choice questions. So that's the problem. And in Sense, we are trying to solve that with artificial intelligence. Now, you may ask, I don't know how savvy is everyone with artificial intelligence, but I'm sure you can understand that artificial intelligence is very, very far away from a stage when it can really understand what students write, not to speak about giving them a feedback. You know how stupid Siri is. I hope she's not offended. So artificial intelligence cannot do that. But what can it do? So our approach is that in STEM courses, when you give a question to the students, right? It could be 100 students, 1,000 students. You don't really receive 1,000 different solutions back, right? And studies show that there are archetypes. There are only so many ways that students can approach a problem in STEM courses. I'm not talking about liberal arts or something like that. I'm talking about STEM. So actually, computers are very good in pattern recognition, in identifying solution archetypes. And this is what we do. So we break the process in a very unique way. We break the process of evaluating students' assignments into two. The first part is letting the computers do what computers do best, which is identifying the solution types, the 5, 6, 7, 8 solution types. And then the second part is letting the human educator, the professor, evaluate each solution type according to his pedagogical consideration, according to his scientific consideration. So that way, he can provide feedback, that thing that is so important, feedback to each group, to each solution type, rather than to each student one by one. So now he has more time and he can give feedback in a much more detailed and better manner. So this is what Sense is doing. We are now, by the way, we also have an R&D office in Rothschild and the headquarters in Boston. That's funny. We should meet for coffee or something. So this is Sense.
Thank you so much, Ronen. And your company has a great name, I must say. Great.
The actual name is Sense.education. Right?
Sense.education.
Because there are so many other senses in the world.
Excellent. And now I would like to ask Shai-Lee. Since you entered my life a year ago, my world has changed. So please, I think it's going to be very interesting for the crowd here. I don't think that even many people from Israel understand what exactly is digital Israel. What is it that you do? Who are you? Why do you influence our life? Please try to answer all these questions in 5 minutes.
Wow, good morning. So who knows what Digital Israel is? Not doing so much good marketing, are we? So Digital Israel is a new bureau established 2 years ago in the Prime Minister's office and now moved to the Social Equality Office in the Israeli government. The idea was that in order to do digital transformation in the government, we need a central unit to actually help facilitate doing it. So there are a lot of different efforts in the different ministries, but wasn't a centralized strategy for the government in terms of how to do the jump or the transformation to the digital area the government needs. We are the startup nation, you probably know, but the government in Israel is not as advanced as the industry, like probably most Israelis here know. And we wanted to solve that problem. We got a small charter to deal with digital education, digital health, digital welfare, economics, focusing on small and medium businesses, and municipalities. Not a big job, but a small job. And we actually started recruiting the team. Most of the team, or at least more than half of the team, came from the high tech, from outside the industry, not from the government, because we are kind of a government startup. We want to do things a bit differently and try to see how we can, leverage the knowledge and culture of the entrepreneurship and innovation in the industry into the government. I will focus, we're doing a lot of things from building the strategy, projects, initiative, but I want to focus on the education area, which is the focus of this summit today. In education, we're doing, 2 or 3 major things. First, we partner with the Ministry of Education to develop a strategy for the digital education in Israel. How together, the Ministry of Education and Digital Israel can look and, can push or leverage or promote digital education in the education systems, from teachers training, content, innovation, bottom-up innovation, entrepreneurship in schools, to new pedagogy, and actually and computers to schools. So we're looking at the entire ecosystems of schools and the data systems in the government and the teachers to solve that, try to, I don't know if we can solve that problem, we're trying and at least to promote or advance the education systems in terms of the technology. What I want to tell today about a different initiative. It's called the National Online Education Initiative that we launched about a few months ago. We saw that in Israel, both in the public sector, both in schools, but also in the government, there is not a lot of online education and courses, and MOOCs wasn't even existing. So we thought here's a gap, and the government actually, the Israeli government, our estimations is that the Israeli government expenses on training, vocational training for teachers, doctors, welfare, social workers, government employees, and so on is about between $500 million to $1 billion shekels a year. Most of it, 99%, is done in a room, probably even not, no slides, some food, some drinks, nobody listen, nobody measure, and not very effective. So we wanted to deal with this challenge. We partnered with edX. I'm sure most of you know. It's an NGO in Boston, established by MIT and Harvard. So the government of Israel actually partnered with edX to build a national platform for online education in Israel. We launched this platform 2 months ago. It's actually now finalizing the test version, and we're going to start upload courses on it. What kind of courses? So we're going from, because it's a national platform, we're going to try to have a very big variety of courses. From academia, we're working with universities. Tel Aviv University is one of our partners, to have academia courses, both for academic students, but also for high school students, as Yuval mentioned here. We also work with the ministries. So I'll give you some examples. We have English for Orthodox, Hebrew for Arabic students, coding courses, digital literacy courses with the Ministry of Science, teacher training with Ministry of Education, content, matriculation content with the Ministry of Education again. So we have a very big variety of courses we're going to start uploading in the next 6 months. Hopefully, a lot of ministers and public organizations will join these initiatives. There's a lot of interest in the government, in the public sector in general, and hopefully this will start the market and we'll start having more and more online courses and online market in Israel in the public sector for MOOCs and online MOOCs, SPOCs, and online courses. We're going to measure, we're going to start to know what we're doing, we're going to teach a lot of different populations, underprivileged population and communities, how to use online courses. This can help narrow social gaps, go to the periphery when they don't have such a good content. Well, I can talk 20 minutes about this. I'm, as you see, very excited. We're happy to share more information if someone in the audience is interested. But this is one of our initiatives in Digital Israel that hopefully will change the way we teach and gather content today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shai-Lee. And like we say in Hebrew, your success is our success. I don't know if it is translated well into English, but I tried. So last is Boaz, who made the best entrance so far, and will try to explain what he is doing in 4 minutes. Enjoy.
It will be probably less than 4 minutes because I was late, so that's basically my punishment. So very briefly, my name is Boaz Shedletsky. I'm at education for the last 10 years almost. Studied at the US and then worked at McGraw-Hill as part of their education business, director of ebook platforms. We moved back to Israel and I joined the CET, the Center for Educational Technology. Was there for a couple of years, and for the last almost 3 years, I'm leading ForClass, which is an EdTech company that I co-founded with a professor at Kellogg, where I went to school. The play is basically to datify the entire teaching process from course creation through course management and post-teaching evaluation. We started at Kellogg to basically validate the need from the faculty perspective. I brought my perspective as a student and as a publisher. After that, we raised some seed money and we went out of Kellogg. We now operate at almost 90 universities with 40,000 students. We solve, we think, an acute need from the faculty to better engage the students through accountability. We now broadening the offering and help them also create content, smart content that basically let them know what assessment would be the most effective for the specific classes that they teach, and also recommends policies how to manage the class. It was fast because I was late.
Very fast, thank you. Okay. So, the title of our session is Unbundling Higher Education, and this holy crowd wants to have only one question to you. What will be in the future? And I will try to explain. Usually when technology enters a market, you see basically two main business models. One is the one giant takes it all that you all know. Google is the biggest search engine, Facebook is the biggest social media network, and etc. On the other end of the spectrum, you see the market being unbundled, and you see many companies emerge in that market. For example, we have representatives of many companies, like you are the founder and owner of those companies. So my question to you is, what do you think will be the future of our universities, of higher education? Is there going to be only a future where there's going to be only 10 super or uber universities, or you're going to take the whole market, rechange it, and they're going to be only 1,000 companies? Or is it going to be a mix where the university is going to hire you to do part of the assignment? So, and while answering that, please try to hint if you think that the conservative model, like most of us went to university is going to stay the same. So I will start with Shai-Lee, the government, and I really want to know, Shai-Lee, and please tell us what you really think, what will happen to Tel Aviv University and to higher education in Israel?
Wow.
What do you plan for us?
Yes, so first, I can give you my opinion. I'm not sure I represent the entire government of Israel. Big question. Well, as I think Muli Ed in his lecture said a lot about how we cannot predict what's going to happen. This disturbance in the force is really unpredictable, and I think it will be very difficult to understand what want to happen. My thought, it'll be a mix and match. So probably very strong universities, Ivy League branded universities will stay. Probably there'll be some local institutions where people need local community colleges. Probably in the middle, there'll be a lot of different things. Some will disappear. Can't tell about Tel Aviv University. I studied in Tel Aviv University, so hopefully not. But some will disappear, some will change, some will alter. Probably the companies will take a lot of some of the market. I guess it will have a lot of different things. I don't think everything will go to online. We'll stay with blended learning because we still need teachers and physical experience. But things will definitely change. I want to say from the government's perspective, our interest is to develop the market as possible. So give incentives, enlarge the cake rather than dice it more, smaller. So hopefully with the things we're doing, there'll be more actors in the EdTech, in the universities, more players, because the bigger the cake is, the bigger the citizens can enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shai-Lee. And now I will try to surprise Boaz and ask him to share from a global perspective and from your knowledge of the US market, how do you see the market evolve nowadays and what will be in the future?
So it really depends, because speaking about education in a homogeneous ways, I don't think that we can do that, but we'll see probably different trends.
Louder. Sorry.
We'll see different trends, I think, in the different niches of education. One of them is content. What's going to be with content? We see that there are better ways to distribute content, so cheaper and more effective ways to distribute content, which enables big masses to get like best of class content. On the infrastructure, we see that the behavior that you described, that there are big players that take significant chunks of the markets, but they let smaller players like startup companies be part of the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So I think that we'll see, like, if you take, for example, the LMS market, the learning management systems, there are 2-3 big players that take, I think, 80-90% of the marketplace, and they offer an ecosystem to tools or feature companies, if you want, to create value, both on the faculty side, on the admin side, and student side. This is speaking, I am speaking from the school or faculty. The students is a totally different, space, domain that you can think. So my answer is not a good answer, but it depends. So we see in our market a lot of smaller niche players mm-hmm. that can increase distribution significantly if we can sign strategic partnerships with the big players. And we wait for a startup to build momentum and audience to show the trends that you are speaking about.
Okay, thank you. Ronen, what do you sense, pay attention, will be in the future for higher education? As a lecturer also, like we heard from you.
So actually, your first question was very, very interesting. So I don't know the future. I try to make it, but I don't know what will happen. Let me just give 2 insights about that. So one, very interesting, you know Y Combinator? Everybody knows Y Combinator? It's the #1 Silicon Valley accelerator, by far more than #2. And recently, they purchased an EdTech accelerator. And they described that the reason is that they now identify that EdTech becomes a mainstream and also the best thing for the future. So it seems that now EdTech, internet revolutionized everything, now it's going to revolutionize education. The second thing, the second insight, is that I would say, just to what you said, there are three levels of education technology or educational plays. One is the content. The second is like the products with a nice UX and infrastructure and everything. And the third is algorithms. Now, content is very diverse, will be diverse. There will not be one giant vendor for that. Regarding infrastructures and products and UX and also the same, very variable. However, algorithms, I think because there are much less companies that can deal with algorithms, algorithms will be more unique. And now if you think about it, you gave the examples of Google and Facebook. One of the reasons, not all the reasons, but one of the reasons that they did better is because they had better algorithms. So that made them much better than their competitors. So algorithms and some of the companies that work with algorithms on algorithmic issues, they have more chances to become the giants than the companies that deal just with content and infrastructure and so on.
And surprisingly, you are part of that layer. Totally by coincidence. Totally by coincidence. Okay, very interesting. Elad, please wrap up the session for us. And when we all gonna meet here next year, is the change is gonna be happening within a year or 2 years or more? What do you see from your very unique global perspective on the market, because you really are very engaged with higher education, the best institution in the US?
So let me focus some of my answer on the graduate level degree programs, not undergraduate, and what I see today in the OPM market, which people that maybe don't know the term OPM, it's an online program managers, which basically are the companies that are enabling online education in the US. So companies like, to name a few, 2U, Academic Partnerships, Wiley Deltec, Pearson Embenet, it's Learning House, BISC, etc. Those companies are basically partnering with universities to white label the degree programs, mainly in graduate levels. And what they do is they white labeling the academics as well as the admission office of the university in order to get more students through the funnel of the university, right? And so why students are even doing that? I mean, why not going into campuses? Because most people, they're still in the graduate level at least, they want to earn a graduate degree to go from $50, $60K a year, $1,000 to maybe $70,000, $80,000 degrees, but they don't want to stop working. They are middle class, hardworking folks that want to study on their terms. And this is some sort of the market where I see today it is booming pretty fast. So most of the capital today that goes in the market is going to OPMs, online program managers. And we see this market booming very, very fast and moving very fast. One of the things that we do is we partner specifically with OPMs. So we work with all the big ones, with 2U, with Hotchuck, with the Personal Review, with Wiley, with BISC, etc., to help them recruit better students to their online degree programs, because that's what they're looking for, and that's how the market, at least in the graduate level, is evolving and moving very fast. The projections, by the way, and I'll end up with that, is that the OPM market is going to double or even triple in about 4 to 5 years. And we're talking about a $1.5 billion market. So this is where I see the market going, maybe less in the undergraduate level. It's harder to get kids to to study online, and earn a certificate or a degree program from the university, but definitely that's a trend in the graduate level.
Thank you. So I don't know how many of you know the companies that Elad just mentioned, but they are very big in the US in every aspect. So thank you all for your very interesting question, and we will test your question next year in the next summit. Thank you all.